about Jared Weaver?
Oh, on his first 7 starts. But I like the Angels out in that division. Not only Weaver, Irvin Santana's having a good year. They got Colon back the last month. Look at John Lackey. He's had some amazing games this year.
As poorly as they played the first half, they're dangerous.
And Kelvin Escobar is part of that rotation. So I see them as going through that AL West. Absolutely.
LaDuca 1 for 2 as the Mets try and fight back against Maddox. 1-1. Mets were down 3-0, tied it in the bottom of the first, took the lead in the bottom of the fourth, but the Cubs came right back with a 5 spot in the fifth. And now the Mets 4 runs behind. And LaDuca drives one to center field, and Pierre left the plate on a hop. And LaDuca has his second hit of the night. And it doesn't matter how bad that thumb hurts, he keeps hitting.
The center fielder, Carlos Beltran.
8th hit against Maddox. Now here's the situation. Just looking ahead, if the Mets start to get something going in this inning, you got Maddox, the veteran, out there. He's won 2 games since April. How far does Dusty go with him? Here's Beltran. He needs 3 outs to qualify for a win.
Well, I'm from the school that you don't manage with your heart, you manage with your head, trying to get a win. So I think if you stay consistent to your players and manage that way throughout the whole season, then you don't have anyone to call you out.
Beltran lifts one to center. Pierre back on the track, has just enough room, and there's the first out. So Beltran just missed. 1 out and 1 on. It has been an absolute disaster for Dusty Baker and the Cubs in 2006.
When he is on the hot seat, the press has just been murdering him in Chicago. We were there, Gare. There was all kinds of stuff in the papers about and questions and is he going to go? Is he going to stay?
Well, they are 23 games under 500 for a team that was hoping to contend, and obviously injuries have played a factor in that. Here's Delgado, who's 2 for 2, and he takes a changeup for a strike.
Well, you know, every year they put a lot of focus on Pryor, Mark Pryor, and Kerry Wood being able to carry them, and it just hasn't happened. The guys just have not been able to take the ball the 34, 35 times you need from young horses like those.
Hit hard, but right at Perez, should be 2. Cedeno turns it over, double play. 4-6-3, so Maddox has his 5 innings in, and he's got himself an 8-4 lead. Beautiful view of the Statue of Liberty on a gorgeous night in New York. Be part of the celebration at Shea with Mets season tickets. Prorated packages include postseason ticket purchase options and priority access for season tickets in the new Mets ballpark. To get your season tickets for the rest of 2006, call 718-507-TIXX or go to Mets.com today. Heath Bell came on with 2 aboard in the 5th inning, gave up a 2-run single to Juan Pierre. Hot dog, anybody?
Well,
wait a second. Keith's back with snacks. What snacks did you bring?
I have some popcorn for you if you like, but you can't do a broadcast and chew popcorn in the middle of the game.
Wait a second.
Only for in between innings.
Wait a second. Who can't? Here's Michael Barrett taking a strike. I don't notice you being deterred at all.
Well, no. I'm very professional.
I see.
And here it is. I'm hungry. It's it's a long game here.
The shortstop, and Reyes throws out Barrett, 1 away. Heath Bell, giving up that hit in the 5th inning, has now inherited 8 runners this year, and 7 have scored.
Yeah, and it's unusual because he being a closer and pitching a lot in the 9th inning for the Norfolk Tides when he's down there, he's used to having to come in and shut the door down. But maybe, let me take that back now. Maybe he starts a lot of those 9th innings with no one on base. Right, he's ready and he establishes his fastball. Maybe when you come in with runners on base, of course, that heart rate is going to be raised just a little bit more.
Ramos Ramirez hit a monstrous 2-run homer that give the Cubs the lead in the 5th inning. And Bill gets ahead of him 0-2. To Ramirez. Ramos Ramirez starting to put up some better numbers for the Cubs here in the second half. He and Juan Pierre, as a matter of fact, both got off to slow starts and now starting to produce a little bit. And you always wonder about players who, once the pressure of the race is off, start producing numbers.
Except Juan Pierre is a winning ball player. Simple as that.
He's
just
shown that.
I think, you know, Juan Pierre, if he ever does anything, is that he tries too hard, works too hard, tries to, you know, do it all too much.
And it's all. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. And Ron said it earlier. It's pride in your performance. You know, whether you're out of it or not. So you're out of it. So what are you going to do? Bag it, or are you going to try to have to be the best you can be, to have the best year you can have?
Ramirez lifts one to right, playable for Nady. 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on. For the latest on the Mets and the most up-to-date sports news, log on to our website. That would be at sny.tv. And while you're there, you can ask the booth. And Jared from Maywood, New Jersey, stopped by and said, Keith, what's the best, the greatest, he said, defensive play you've ever made?
Oh, I'd have to say a game that Ron Darling pitched right here, where he had a ground ball off the bat of Ryan Sandberg. It was a 3-1 game, something like that. It wasn't hit hard enough. I couldn't get 2 off Sandberg. Was holding runner on first. I backhanded it, touched the bag for the out, and then threw home to Carter for the final out of the inning. And it wasn't the greatest play I ever made, but it was probably one of the most reactionary, smartest plays I ever made.
Popped up. Reyes retreating. And the first 1-2-3 inning of the night for a Mets pitcher. Do you remember any other details from that play? How about the count, like the temperature?
No, there are 37,442 people there that night.
I got much more.
We go to the bottom of the 6th at Shea. Greg Maddux still out there chucking, and David Wright gets ahead of 1 and pulls it foul. It's the Mets home run inning presented by Amtrak Acela Express. If the Mets hit a home run, one grand prize winner will win a trip anywhere in the Northeast with Amtrak Acela Express. To enter or see if you're a contestant, visit sny.tv/Amtrak today. And a slow ground ball. Wright broke his bat. 0-2. Hey, Ronnie, what was the greatest defensive play you ever made?
In 20 words or less.
I think the best play I ever made was because of the reaction from the hitter, Scott Proctor, little second baseman, played with a lot of teams, playing with the Chicago White Sox. They laid a bunt down the third base line, and they were winning by 4 or 5 runs late in the game. Or no, they were behind 4 or 5 runs late in the game. And I saw him do it early, and I made the play, and he went past first base. And he turned around and he looked at me. I think, yeah, Scott Fletcher, sorry. He looked at me from first base for about 30 seconds and couldn't believe I made the play on him.
Well, I will say one thing. My former teammate here, now colleague in the booth, could field his position.
Former Gold Glover. He's the last man to win the Gold Glove in the National League before the guy standing on the mound.
And I think Ronnie should have won a few more. It's just some people get more publicity than others, and for some reason, Greg Maddux. Because a lot of that Golden Glove is getting on the map.
Floyd takes one in the dirt. Well, I think a lot of times Golden Glove voters are influenced by other things other than fielding. I think sometimes if you have 2 guys who are even, a better hitter might, or a better pitcher might, you know, something like that might influence the voter.
I would have to say, though, every year I had 2 or 3 errors on pickoffs or trying to pick off a runner. And that's not a very attractive thing for voters when a pitcher has a couple of errors.
1-1 to Floyd.
And there's the thing where writers or whoever votes for those.
It's the coaches and the managers who vote for it.
Don't see you every day.
And I have to tell you, I have watched coaches fill out those ballots, and they're not always filled out with the greatest of care.
I always thought it was a conspiracy because I always used a Wilson glove my entire career, in the beginning of my career. And in '89, in spring training, I changed to a Rawlings glove.
Off the end of the bat to center, and Pierre's there.
And of course, Rawlings gives the Gold Glove. And at the end of the year, when I got the Gold Glove, I said, boy, I should have changed a lot earlier.
The question is, did you stay with Rawlings?
I did stay for the rest of my career.
Now, again, the coaches vote. I don't know who tabulates the vote.
That's a good point.
So that might feed into your conspiracy theory there.
That's right. It could be a vast left-wing conspiracy.
Well, I know Keith.
Or right, or somewhere in the middle. A glove company's conspiracy. 1-0 to Nady. What brand of glove did you wear, Keith?
I wore Rawlings my whole career.
You see? That feeds it even further, doesn't it?
All St. Louis guys wear Rawlings.
Actually, I wore McGregor in the beginning, and then I signed with Rawlings.
Nady lifts one down the right field line. Long run for Jacques Jones. And a great play. Oh, that's beautifully done by Jones. And he perches himself on the sidewall and then comes up limping away. That'll get you a Gold Glove.
It's time to play the WFA.
Here we go to the 7th inning, and Phil Nevin leads off against Heath Bell, who's worked an inning and a third in relief. Nevin has a pair of doubles, one broadly hit, the other barely hit. 1-0. Well, here's Jacques Jones.
Look at this guy right here.
And Mo and Larry aren't here, but Curly is.
Well, let me tell you one thing.
Meet your public.
If you're the lady right there, look at her reaction.
And then look at the kid on the left. He wants the ball.
The guy, if you're playing in the Sandlodge, you put him in right field.
Last pick.
Yes. Where the ball won't find him.
2-0 to Nevin. You must have been brutal to play with as a kid.
I was brutal to play with in the big league.
See, Nevin can't hold that swing back.
But Kerwin Danley said he did.
I know.
Is it me, or is Nevin bigger than he's ever been before? There's a strike.
Big guy, looks like a refrigerator with a helmet on. I mean, he's just so square.
Some guys just look different in different uniforms.
That's true.
Maybe. Looked a little sleeker as a Padre a few years ago. 3-2 to Nevin. Well, Nevin playing first base today. No telling where he'll be next week. Of course, with Derek Lee now back on the disabled list, that increases his value to the Cubs for the moment. There have been rumors that he might be dealt before the deadline, a week away. Right at Reyes. And so Bell's retired 5 in a row, 1 out and nobody on. Let's check in with Chris Cotter. Chris?
You know, just about that with Phil Nevin talking to Dusty Baker before the game today. He said he's going to continue to play other players at first base, including Todd Walker. So Todd is going to actually be in the game tomorrow and on Wednesday. Dusty already told us that whether he's at first base, you don't know. But he did say he's going to try player by committee at that position throughout the rest of the year, at least until Derek Lee comes back.
You have to wonder about Lee as Merton takes ball 1. At this point, I mean, we don't know whether he's in danger of re-injuring that wrist, but at this point, does it make a whole lot of sense for him to rush back?
Well, it's a fracture, and if it's bothering him and it's healed, as opposed to a hamstring or a quad, a muscle pull, then you might want to be more careful.
1-1 to Merton. By the way, speaking of hamstrings, you know who's going to throw his first rehab start for St. Lucie on Wednesday night? Brian Bannister. 3 months after he first hurt that hamstring.
Boy, this is a cruel game, isn't it? You can make the team out of spring training, and the next thing you know, you're not heard of until August.
Well, I mean, there's no question that he tried to come back too quickly. Made that one rehab start and hurt himself going to first base. And it's been a long slog for Bannister trying to work his way back.
What did I tell you about Tom McKenna, that old trainer for the Metsies back in the 70s?
You said 3 weeks.
I said 3 weeks at least.
toward right center field. Nady can't make the play, but he kept the ball in front of him, and he'll hold Merton to a single. Now throwing behind him, and Merton able to retreat.
Tommy McKenna, who Ronnie knows, one of the great guys, great trainer. Nice effort by Nady, by the way. As he keeps the ball in front, he realizes now he can't get it. Now watch him straighten out his glove to block it. Nice play. Good effort.
Well, Merton's lucky that Nady couldn't get a little more on that throw.
Cleats just held for him. He almost went down.
So we get back to that point real quick.
Tom McKenna.
McKenna said when the player came after 3 weeks and they all say I'm ready to go, he said 1 more week. Because if you hurt it again, he said, then it's 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, he is trainer emeritus. I'll tell you, in '87, he got me through spring training. He told everyone, don't pitch him. I'm just going to work on him. He's going to play catch. And by opening day, he'll be ready. And he was right.
Perez fouls it off. Well, if Bannister is beginning that road back, starting the rehab clock on Wednesday, which means he technically has 30 days to stay on the big league roster and work his way through the minors. Doesn't have to take that long. So now you got Pedro coming back on Friday. You've got Pelfrey and Maine and El Duque. You've got 6 pitchers here for 5 spots right now. If you add Bannister to the mix, now you've got 7 somewhere down the road.
Well, I think Bannister has got to get some starts under his belt and get back in. It's like spring training all over for him.
But I guess what I'm saying is that you've got the prospect of Bannister, who's, you know, he made 5 starts in the big leagues, and he at least was part of the mix this year. So now you've got 7 pitchers for 5 spots. Are you still looking to add a starter? Now, obviously, if you can get an elite starter, it's one thing. But are you looking for numbers as Perez goes down looking for the second out?
Well, I don't think you're looking for numbers. I think what you're doing now is not only you paying attention to the teams you're playing, but also Willie's keeping a keen eye on this audition of all these pitchers and saying to himself, you know, if we get to August and we still have this kind of lead end of August, who am I taking to the show when October comes around? And it'll be the people that are throwing the best.
Maddox hits one to short, and Reyes goes the short way, and that ends the inning. So 2 1/3 out of the bullpen for Heath Bell.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
But the Mets still down by 4.
Loosen up those muscles and send take me out to the ball game.
Mets and Cubs open a 3-game series tonight, and Steve Traxel had a rough first inning, gave up 3, but the Mets got them right back in the bottom of the first against Greg Maddux, who wasn't happy with his defense. Cliff Floyd and Xavier Nady with back-to-back doubles to give the Mets the lead, but then Ramos Ramirez hit a 2-run homer to give the Cubs the lead, and Greg Maddux still in there in the 7th inning. Throws strike 1 to Chris Woodward. Woodward 0 for 2, twice is grounded out to third. And Maddux ahead 0-2, and ever since getting the lead, Maddux has started to settle into a Greg Maddux mode.
You take away that first inning where he gave up 4 hits and 3 runs, he's throwing a heck of a ball game.
Woodward the other way, and he's got his first hit of the day. Hit number 9 for New York. As Woodward tries to get it started here in the bottom of the 7th, Chad Bradford getting ready, and Jose Valentin will bat for Heath Bell as we check out the Toyota National League scoreboard. The Braves, after beating the Phillies last night, tonight's a makeup game after they got rained out Saturday. Atlanta 12.5 games behind the Mets. Pittsburgh laying it on Milwaukee laying it on Pittsburgh. Colorado up 2-0 on the Cardinals, who've won 4 straight to open up a 5-game lead in the Central. San Diego back in first place in the West. They'll be at LA later. Here's Valentin, who was getting the night off tonight, pinch hitting, and he takes ball 1. Heath Bell turned in 2 1/3 innings out of the bullpen. Most important batter he faced, though, was his first. He gave up a hit to Juan Pierre that produced 2 runs and turned a 2-run game into a 4-run game. And Valentin lines one over short. And the Mets have something brewing here in the 7th. First and second, and nobody out.
Well, nice hitting here. It's a sinker. It's up. Yeah, it's up. Yep, it's belt high, out, almost out of the strike zone. Just very good hitting by Valentin, who can go that way.
And if that ball is down, that's a ground ball hit weakly in the infield, but up, elevated. Valentine able to hit that over the shortstop's head.
So here's Reyes, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight. Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate here in the 7th inning. Ball 1 to Reyes. And the Cubs bullpen gets busy. Michael Wirtz, the right-hander. Scott Air, the left-hander. Reyes is lined out, grounded out, struck out. 2-0. Reyes fouls it back. And then all of a sudden it's become a cauldron of noise here in Flushing. Woodward at second, Valentine at first, and nobody out. On 2-1, Reyes takes inside, ball 3.
Oh, you saw Maddox's reaction there. He wanted that call.
Maddox has not walked the batter tonight. Now Barrett had to reach for that.
He wanted it away. He missed.
On 3-1, Reyes pulls one foul. 3-2.
There he threw the old dead fish up there, Ronnie.
He's been doing it all night. He's using Jose Reyes' aggressiveness against him.
Struck him out with that changeup in the same spot as last time up.
He might try to sneak a piece of cheese against him right now, but he's got the changeup grip.
Runners hold, and Reyes fouls it off.
Everybody clap your hands.
It's been rough for Reyes since he came back from the finger, just 5 for 25. Let's see what Maddox has done tonight. It's a lot of hits, but a 0 in that walk column, and that's the norm for Maddox.
He'll try to sneak a fastball by him.
On 3-2, Reyes takes ball 4, and the bases are loaded. First walk of the night for Maddox, and he's done. Dusty Baker on his way to the mound.
The catcher, Paul Loduca.
Maddox not happy. The Mets bring the tying run to the plate in the 7th inning, and Dusty goes to the bullpen. He'll bring in Michael Wirtz to try and get Maddox out of the jam. Greg Maddux just 2-11 since the end of April. He leaves with a 4-run lead, but the Mets trying to build a comeback in the bottom of the 7th inning. They'll try and continue it against the Chicago bullpen. Scott Air comes in to face Beltran.
Well, Scott Air has probably been one of their most consistent relievers out of the pen. Signed him to be the left-handed specialist. San Francisco last year, 86 relief appearances. He takes the ball almost every day.
Well, he's inherited 31 runners on the season. Only 7 have scored.
Juan Sanchez getting ready to pitch the 8th inning. Valentine at third, Reyes at second, and teams, whenever they can, have been turning Beltran around. To Carlos.
Well, this is one of those innings that the Mets cannot let get away from them. They have to try to get these 2 runs in, and I'll get them right back in this game.
The infield is back. They'll concede a run on a ground ball. But the Mets want more. 2-0 to Beltran. And those numbers will tell you why they bring in lefties.
Well, the power numbers are also very stark. So, and obviously he has less at bats against the left-handers, but the average is huge difference.
Bobby Howry gets up in the Cubs bullpen. On 2-0, Beltran takes a strike. As Carlos hit a monstrous grand slam batting right-handed in Cincinnati. Some 450 feet. He tears up lefties. David Wright does. He won't see one. That's why Howry's up now.
Absolutely. That grand slam was on a hanging slider too in the middle of the plate. Sped up his bat.
And Carlos launches one to left center. A long run from Merton, and he runs it down. Valentine able to tag and score. It's now 8-6. An uncertain route to the ball by Matt Merton, but he made the play. Beltran drives in his 80th run, and that's a new Met Club record for center fielders.
Well, nice pitch by Air. Ball is down. Good job by Beltran again, going down and driving that ball. And if not for the nice play by Matt Merton, who took, like Gary said, a strange route, heads bobbing up and down, still able to make the catch. And saves the run for the Cubs.
So 2 runs home here in the bottom of the 7th. Mets have cut the Cubs lead in half. And here's Delgado, who's done well in the past against Air. 3 hits and 5 career at bats.
It'll be curious to see Carlos's approach here. All you need, a home run, sure, ties the ball game, but a base hit puts you back in the hunt. 1 run down, you're in the hunt. Already 2 runs down. See if he takes an approach where maybe 1 strike, looks middle in, try to go deep, and then goes the other way.
He has 2 hits today, and both have gone to left center field. Want to know to Delgado. Chad Bradford joining Duaner Sanchez in the bullpen. Now, this will be Air's last batter either way. You got David Wright on deck, and there's no way in the world they'd leave the lefty in for him.
Now as a hitter, got a power hitter up here. You're down 2-0. He's not going to throw a fastball inside because my hitter has a strike to look middle in, and a power hitter. He's going to go away. Now, Carlos, let's see what he does with it.
See his average against lefties. Not what he'd like it to be. And now Air falls behind 3-0.
And that was up and in, but the catcher was set up outside. Give him a hit sign? I wouldn't.
You got David Wright on deck.
I agree.
Yes, and you're 2 runs down.
And he just has not been hitting lefties as well as he'd like to.
And it looks like Air doesn't want any part of him anyways. None of his pitches are even close.
He's overthrowing, isn't he, Ronnie?
Yeah.
3-0 to Delgado. Ball 4. And now the tying runs are on base, and David Wright is coming up. And Dusty Baker will make his 3rd pitching change of the inning and bring on Bobby Howry, the right-hander, to face David Wright. The Cubs.
Trying to get 3 outs with the 3 relievers is Dusty Baker.
Maddox started the inning, gave up 2 hits and a walk. Works, Air, and now Howry have followed. Crowd has been just stupendous here in the 7th inning. Wright has had 1 career at bat against Howry and a base hit. 2 on and 2 out, tying runs on base. Ball 1. Larry Rothschild didn't like the look of that first pitch.
No, he didn't like that slider.
Bobby Howry got beat up by the Nationals in his last outing on Friday to the tune of 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. had a good hack. 1-1.
Very good cut. Just a little up out of the strike zone enough. Up the ladder enough. Wanted it away.
And 94 miles an hour. Might have just barely beat him.
This is right down the pipe. He did beat him a little bit.
You won't want to throw that one again, though.
Checking in on Reyes. Faked the go on the previous pitch. Wright 1 out of 3 tonight. Has hit in 5 straight games. Ooh, 2-1. 96 miles an hour from Howard.
Well, this becomes now the 2-1 pitch is in favor of the hitter here. That's a big pitch right there. The difference between 1-2 and 2-1. It's a big swing.
1-2. He can throw that slider away out of the strike zone. Here he might have to center it.
Fouls it off Barrett. 2-2.
He throws hard, this kid. Let me tell you, he's got some zip on this fastball. This is down the pipe too, Ronnie.
He throws hard. He went right after him. He did get that same pitch.
Harry, a former closer on the other side of Chicago with the White Sox. Two and 2 to David. Down slowly. Foul ball. Foul ball.
These fans are nuts tonight, aren't they? They're into it.
They were a little muted until this inning, but boy, they have been in full throat as the Mets have tried to rally here in the bottom of the 7th. And sometimes you have to cool down that throat. Mets have 10 hits. They're in need of one big one here.
Don't throw a slider.
Well, if he throws one, it better be out of the strike zone because he's been a little late in the fastball. If he throws that hard slider, that's going to get the head of the bat out.
You know how well, David, it goes to right field with 2 strikes.
Rally caps in place. Conversation to begin. What does Perez want to know?
He's just being the veteran in there to go and see if they're going to change signs too. Change the code because they have to know. The middle infielders can see what the catcher's calling. The first baseman and the third baseman can't.
Broken bat toward the middle, base hit. Reyes scores. It's 8-7.
We're going to show you the pitch sequence. Leads him off with a bad slider, 1-0. Fastball, a lot of play up, 1-1. Misses with a fastball away. Fouled back, good cut, 2-2. Came in, fouled it off, came back in. Good pitch. He just needed to get it at belt high. He got it down.
Well, Wright's bat exploded, but it produced his 80th run batted in. Maddox left with the bases loaded. All 3 of those runs have scored. Now Delgado, the tying run at second. Here's Floyd. Strike 1. Now Dusty Baker made 3 pitching changes in this inning. He spent his lefty, so he's left with Howery against Floyd.
Well, you make a good pitch, and the guy breaks his bat in half, and he gets a base hit. Hang with him.
And Cliff hits it hard to short. Cedeno has time to recover and throws him out to end the inning. But the Mets make a dent.
Congratulations to tonight's everyday champion.
Beltran and Wright with RBIs. It's 8-7.
The fan assistance booth on the lowest level to claim your prize.
Well, Chad Bradford has been excellent all year long. Here, job is to put up a 0, get the Mets back in there hitting.
Bradford did not pitch at all in the Houston series. His last outing was that last game in Cincinnati when he came in with the bases loaded and 1 out and got the Mets out of a jam. Now he'll try and keep it a 1-run game here in the 8th against Juan Pierre at the top of the batting order, 1-0. Now Heath Bell gave up that 1 hit to Pierre that plated 2 runs, but after that he held the fort for 2 1/3 innings.
And that's something we noticed on the last road trip, Gary. Bradford's starting to try to throw left-handers inside more, which I think is something he has to do, because left-handers will just tend to dive and wait for that sinker away off of him.
3 right-hand batters behind Pierre, who takes a strike.
And I think early in the year, Keith, he was primarily used, as you see Cedeno on the on-deck circle, primarily used against the right-handed hitters. But with all of his success, Willie feels like he should have him out there against both left-handed and right-handed hitters.
Hammered on the ground, foul. 2-2. Well, there are the numbers versus lefties and righties, and it's about what you'd expect from a side armor, submariner.
The Mets have 2 specialists really in their bullpen, and that's Feliciano, of course, as the side armor against lefties, and Bradford primarily for the big right-handed out, and he's delivered this year, that is for sure.
2-2. Pierre fouls off the slider. Well, this has been a wacky game as you see Feliciano getting ready. Jock Jones, the next left-hand hitter, the 5th batter of the inning. That's we're down 3-0 before they came to bat. Tied it in the bottom of the 1st. Went ahead, fell behind 8-4, and now a 3-run 7th has them within a run. In front of the plate, tough for LaDuca against Pierre. Got him! Pierre doesn't think so. And Dusty Baker will come out to argue it. But quite a play by Paul LaDuca.
I think he got him. This is a heck of a play. Can't tell there, but it's as close as it gets. He got him. Ty?
What do you think?
I think it's, I don't know. I'm telling you, this is close to call. I think he got him. From that angle, I think he got him.
There's a case, too, where the first baseman can stretch towards the throw. Cut a little distance down.
Well, LaDuca had to go a long way for that ball against the speed of Pierre, and that's just a terrific play, whether he would got him or not. There's Ronnie Cedeno taking a strike.
And arguably one of the few catchers in baseball who can make that play, because we've watched LaDuca do that over and over. In fact, the Mets lost the game earlier in the year where Heilman made a play in Philadelphia. If he would have let LaDuca make the play, he would have made it easily.
Cedeno fouls it away.
Not that it was Heilman's fault. It was one of those in-between plays, but you never expect a catcher to be that quick and to be able to throw like an infielder on the run, and LaDuca can do that.
You just can't count the number of ways in which Paul LaDuca has helped this team.
Daniel a little late on that. As you see the Michael Barrett on deck. You're right, Gary. The way he can, he's had to sacrifice bunts, hitting runs, takes tons of pitches for Jose Reyes at first base.
He's hitting 300. Leads that pitching staff.
Calls a good game behind the plate. Aggressive game.
Struck him out. Bradford with the sinker gets Cedeno 2 down.
Well, see, he almost touches the ground, and this bottom drops out of this ball. You watch Cedeno's reaction. You won't see it here, but after he was done, head on the ball, he just had his head shaking his head on the way to the dugout.
In 2006, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will donate $25 to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, go to www.hopeandheroes.org. Michael Barrett got the Cubs started tonight with a home run off Steve Traxel in the first. One of 3 that Traxel allowed tonight in his 4 2/3 innings, charged with 8 runs and 10 hits. And the Mets have been battling uphill trying to get Traxel off the hook. Oh, 2 to Barrett.
You know, Keith, don't some teams, when they start to get to this point in the year, Mets are having a fantastic year. Cubs, one of their worst years. Where sometimes the clubs that aren't playing well start to feel how they're going to lose this game instead of win it. And the teams that are doing well look for a way to penetrate that defense of the Cubs and take this game away from them.
It's like, uh-oh, here we go again.
Barrett pops it foul.
You're absolutely right, Ron.
Well, the Cubs just came from Washington, where they got swept in a 3-game series by the last place Nationals. They can't be feeling all that good about themselves. On 0-2, Barrett takes just inside.
Well, I love when Chad Bradford does that. Sorry, Gary. How he does that quick pitch. He almost comes into like he's going to do that set position. Instead, goes right after him.
Cubs began the year 13-8, but that's what they've done since. The worst record in the majors. Right at Reyes. Barrett retired, and Bradford with a 1-2-3 top of the 8th keeps the momentum going for New York. Xavier Nady will lead off in the bottom of the 8th. Been a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Lots of action to keep them concentrating on the game.
Xavier Nady leads off the bottom of the 8th with the Mets down by a run. And he takes a strike. Nady, an RBI double that barely missed being a 2-run homer back at the 4th. Andy Chavez out on deck to bat for Chad Bradford, who did his job. And then Valentin due up 3rd in the inning, batting in the 9-hole. 1-1 to Nady. Juaner Sanchez getting ready, but if the Mets can grab a lead, you have to figure Billy Wagner will get up. On 1-1, Nady swings and misses at the fastball. 1-2.
Well, one thing about Howery, he's got a good arm, and he throws a lot of them down, got a lot in the middle of the plate. He just got a good live fastball.
Bobby Howery, soon to turn 33 years old. Former closer with the White Sox. And Nady takes inside, 2-2. Nady with 14 home runs on the year. And Howery gets it one away.
Pretty tough pitch, Ronnie.
Well, he has 2 fastballs. He has that 4-seamer that stays very true on the outside part, and when he comes inside, he comes in with that 2-seamer, and you see the bottom drop out just under the bat of Xavier Nady. Nice pitch, because even if you miss on the plate with that pitch, it's down enough that you're going to get a ground ball. Should be able to keep it in the ballpark.
Well, he had the corner on that one. That was a beautiful pitch, boy.
Well, here's Andy Chavez, who's been quite adept in close late inning games. Hitting at .284 on the year. Batting for Bradford in the 8th spot on the order. Corners in against him, and Chavez takes ball 1.
Andy likes that ball away, goes the other way naturally. He's gotten some big hits. He has just been terrific.
See Ramirez in and near the line at 3rd. That game-winning double in Cincinnati on Thursday that he hit right over the 3rd base bag.
Don't want to be walking people in this situation. A 1-run lead,
especially someone who can steal a base.
Valentine on deck. Howery behind 2-0. There's a strike.
None of these kids look tired. They're like Ernie Banks, these kids.
Summer vacation, come on.
They're ready for 2.
They sleep till noon.
These guys aren't tired.
School still a month or more away. They're revved. 2-2. Wide awake and in the front row. Life is good. He's looking for ice cream. They can't all be ripping.
He's a bit distracted, yes.
2-2 to Chavez. Ball 3.
Good eye by Endy there. That's the first breaking ball he's seen off of him. That is the 5th pitch in the count. There's a tired camper.
There's a worried camper.
3-2 to Chavez. To left field, hit well. Merton back. That's going to be caught. Another awful route taken by Matt Merton. But just as he did on Beltran's fly ball, somehow he found it.
How can you be playing in so shallow with a 1-run lead late in the ball game? You don't want to double over your head. He made the play. We've seen it all in this game.
All's well that ends well for Matt Merton. He's had a couple of scares the last 2 innings.
Nice catch nonetheless.
So 2 out, and here's Valentine, who came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th, got a base hit off Maddox and stayed in the game at second base. 11 home runs on the year. Ball 1. Phillies trying to come back against that dreadful Atlanta bullpen.
Yeah, they got Bob Wickman for the 9th. It's whether they can get to the 9th.
Valentine cracks one to left center. Long run for Pierre over in the gap, and he runs it down to end the inning. Bobby Howery pitches a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. On to the 9th we go. Back in the wild card, and a lot of teams in contention there.
The wild card changes everything.
But Juan Sanchez in the game. Surprised to see that number of left-handed hitters at 286. With that great changeup we saw earlier in the season, left-handers had no chance against Sanchez, but he struggled with that pitch as of late.
Aramis Ramirez, a 2-run homer that gave the Cubs the lead back in the 5th inning. And he hits it hard to short, and Reyes able to come up with it. 1 pitch and 1 out.
I must say one thing, and I've said it every time, and I just have to keep saying it. Jose Reyes plays a very solid shortstop. He has the great fundamentals defensively. He gets in front of the ball whenever he can. He uses 2 hands. He's got a strong arm. He's got an accurate arm. Look at him get in front. Get his body in front and 2 hands. Look at that. That is just beautiful. He can play shortstop.
And then, of course, he's got the great arm to go with it. 1 out and nobody on. Here's Jacques Jones. He homered back in the 5th inning right behind Ramirez, and he takes ball 1. Hammered on the ground. Sanchez will run it hard to the bag at first. 2 out. And that's a huge ovation from the crowd here at Shea. They know.
They've been watching the games.
Good pitch.
The first base
Knows that Delgado's nowhere near the base. He's got to get there.
People here pay attention. That's the loudest ovation for a 1 unassisted routine play that I've ever heard. Nobody felt worse about what happened yesterday than Aaron Heilman.
And you know what? It was handled beautifully by both Aaron and Willie in the press, the papers today, as it should be handled. It was Aaron admitted to his mistake. Willie said no one's more embarrassed than him. He knows he made the mistake, and then there it was. It's a non-issue. Mistakes happen in the course of a year. You learn from them.
And Aaron was asked, did Willie talk to you? He said he doesn't have to. No, nobody's more embarrassed by that than I am.
Aaron Heilman could not have handled this more beautifully in the press. Just admit to your mistakes and then move on. For some reason, he vapor locked.
Nevin fouls off the breaking ball, 1-2.
That'll happen, but the same way it was a day game yesterday. You see Dempster in the bullpen for the Cubs. That will keep you from going to dinner out in New York. Order in. Takeout Chinese.
That's all at the top of the batting order coming up at the bottom of the ninth. Sanchez trying to keep it a one-run game. 1-2 to Nevin. This is low with a breaking ball, 2-2. Willie Randolph was asked the other day who the biggest surprise has been for him this year, and he didn't say Valentine. He said Sanchez. He said, I didn't know how good he was going to be. And he has been special. Three and 2 to Nevin.
Well, during spring training, the Mets played the Dodgers several times, and I talked with Vin Scully at one game, and he said Sanchez is solid, Keith. So when Vin Scully tells you something like that, you kind of listen. He's been around for so long.
On 3 and 2, Nevin lifts it to right. A lot of air under it, so Nady has time. 1-2-3 inning for Juaner Sanchez. Reyes, LaDuca, and Beltran coming up for the Mets in the bottom of the ninth, down by a run.
Two big league starts, who's now turned into a closer. 33 saves last year for the Cubbies.
16 saves, but he's also blown 5 this year. Reyes leads off, and he takes a strike from Dempster, the former Florida Marlin, who once pitched a one-hitter against the Mets during his starting days.
And they're in at the corners and guarding the line, particularly first base, right on that line.
Reyes 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. 1-1. Willie Randolph hoping his team can come back in the bottom of the ninth, which was a staple for this club early in the season. Mets have had 9 walk-off wins this year.
Well, it's critical to keep Reyes off the bench, off the bases.
Reyes pulls it foul.
And that is a big strike right there because it allows the defense on the corners of the infield to move back now, cover more ground. 2 strikes on Reyes.
Dempster ahead in the count, and Reyes swings and foul tips it. It's held by Barrett, 1 away.
Well, good split finger. You can see it coming out of those 2 fingers, split apart. What happens to that ball is that it comes tumbling out of your hand instead of with that reverse action on the ball and just tumbles down. But the great thing about a split finger is you have the same arm action as you would on your fastball.
And it couldn't have been thrown in a perfect spot. It started around above the knees and broke down, and Reyes fished for a bad pitch.
So 1 out in the last of the ninth, and Paul LaDuca, who has 2 hits and an RBI tonight, stands in and takes a strike. LaDuca has never had a hit against Dempster, 0 for 10 in his career. Dempster, the 5th Chicago pitcher of the night. Bobby Howry set up for an inning and a third. And LaDuca bounces one down to Nevin. 2 out. And so the Mets are down to their final out of the night.
Center fielder, Carlos Beltran.
Well, they don't want Delgado to come to bat here with Beltran on base.
Well, we talked about Loduca failing against Dempster. Beltran is 5 for 6 with a home run against Dempster in his career.
There you go. Nothing over your head. That's Gary Matthews right there, Sarge.
And they are really guarding the lines against Beltran, who takes ball 1. Carlos had a double back in the first inning, a sacrifice fly in the 7th, 1 for 3. Now has 80 runs batted in, the most ever by a Mets center fielder. And you see the numbers against Dempster. One and one.
Good pitch to take right there. Backdoor slider.
Delgado looming on deck. On 1-1, Beltran pulls it down the line, which is right where Nevin's playing, and the ball game is over. Guarding the lines, couldn't have paid off more perfectly for the Cubs, who take the opener of the 3-game series. They hang on for Greg Maddox's 326th career victory. And the Mets have now dropped 2 straight, giving up 8 runs each of the last 2 days against 2 of the lowest scoring teams in baseball.
Well, that 5-run fifth by the Cubs that made it 8-4 was just a little bit too much to overcome.
A tough night for Steve Traxel, who gave up 3 home runs, 8 runs in 4 2/3.
Yeah, Traxel struggled. He really didn't have anything working tonight. Got jumped for those 3 runs in that first inning. Really paved the way.
Ryan Dempster wraps it up with a 1-2-3 ninth inning to pick up the save, as the Cubs win it, as Maddox gets just his 3rd win since the end of April, career number 326, and Traxel loses for the first time in more than 2 months. Cubs win it 8-7. Be sure to join us for our next broadcast tomorrow night at 7 as the Mets continue their series against the Cubs here at Shea. Coming up next, it'll be Nissan Post Game Live.